You've done your diligence, and now you've learned the essential CSS skills needed to style your page. Now it's time to start to format the structure of our page, as well as to change the overall layout without having to recode the XHTML to do so. Understanding the box model concept, we will see that it is possible to completely change the appearance of our XHTML quickly without having to touch our XHTML to do so. In this lesson, we'll look at linking to an external CSS style sheet rather than defining our CSS styles in each and every single HTML page in our site. Doing this will add a huge amount of efficiency to your website and make things significantly easier for you to maintain. Having one single place or a series of separate CSS files based on subject that govern aspects of formatting and layout of your site, separate and away from the HTML structure of your website, will make things much, much easier for you to maintain going forward. Let's take a look at how we do this. In the Project Files folder, in Chapter 6, let's take a look at lesson_01_home in TextEdit and in Firefox, or the default browser on your machine. Now this file should look very much the same as what we've seen before. And as we can see inside the HTML page itself, we have internal CSS styles defined, governing the format and to a very small degree the layout of this page. But what we want to do is get these styles out of this page and into their own separate file. What we're going to do is, just like I was doing a moment ago, before the opening style tag, click and drag and select all of your CSS rules. I'm just holding down the left mouse button and clicking and dragging until I get the closing style tag with all of my CSS rules selected, including the opening and closing style tag. From the Edit menu, I'm going to cut my CSS styles into memory, and then from the File menu, create a new document, and then from the Edit menu, paste all of your CSS rules into this new file. Now before you do anything else, save this file. From the File menu, select Save, Command-S, Control-S on the PC. Save this file into the Chapter 6 folder and give it the name style.css. .css is the file extension we'll use for all of our external CSS files. If you're using Notepad as your text editor, make sure you have this set to UTF-8. When you click Save, the file is saved. Now, we're not finished yet. Since this is a separate CSS style sheet, we no longer need the opening and closing style tags. We'll use an attribute that will let the browser know that the content of this style page are in fact CSS style rules. But for right now, delete the opening and closing style tag from this CSS file. And again, save this file and close it. We're done setting up our CSS file. That wasn't so hard. Now we just need to link to it. If I were to save my lesson_01_home HTML page and hit refresh, everything will look wrong because this page no longer has any styles associated with it. So what I'm going to do now is inside the head element, I'm just going to hit the return key a few times, and I'm going to enter an empty element that will create a link between this file and our CSS style sheet. This empty element will read link, and it will have an href attribute, a rel attribute, and a type attribute. And we'll close this empty element, as we've seen before, with a / and a closing caret. Now we need to put in the href the location of our style CSS file. And we just need to pass a little bit of information to the web browser to let it know that the relationship between the page being linked to and this page is, in fact, a style sheet containing text which should be interpreted as style instructions. So, inside our href attribute, we'll enter the name of our file, since in our directory structure, the style sheet and the HTML file that we're working on reside at the same directory level. Knowing this, all we need to do here is type style.css. For our rel attribute, we just need to add the value style sheet, and the type of style sheet is text CSS. This single line of code is all that's needed to create a link between our HTML file and our CSS file. So if we save this file from the File menu and switch back over to what looks like a broken version of our page in our browser and hit Reload, all of a sudden the page looks like it should again. Except this time, when I right-click and view the page source, all of the CSS styles are in a separate style sheet. And now we can quickly apply this single line to each of the remaining associated files with this homepage, so that for this set of files, you only have to maintain one set of styles to see those changes applied to every single linked page. And again, in the interest of efficiency, since I've done something right, I'll just copy that thing into memory that I've done, that I know works, and go apply it elsewhere. In this case, in the Chapter 6 folder, to the Nebula 1, 2, and 3 files, which we've seen before. In each of these files, I'll remove the CSS styles by selecting them and deleting them. And I'll do that quickly in each of the remaining files, just by clicking and dragging. That's all I'm doing. It might look like I'm going very fast. In fact, I'm not really going that fast. All I'm doing is repeating myself. Deleting, 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 so that I can copy that which we know works right, and in the appropriate place in each of the 3 corresponding files, paste, paste, and paste. And, again, another repetitive action, save and close, save and close, third time lucky, save and close. And I'll even close down my home page so that I can go to each of these pages, and when I view their source, I can see a local link to a style sheet.